Hello, crafty friends. It's Kelly's Crafts here, and I am here to give you your monthly tip of the month for January 2026. So today I'm going to be showing you a tip in response to some questions that I've gotten from some of my customers. And they tell me, Kelly, I don't have a very big crafting supply. So I can't do a lot of the fancy things that you do. So how can I make the most of what little supplies that I do have? For example, I don't want to have like every color of ribbon that I would need for any project. So how can I kind of keep my projects fancy but not have to spend and have to have a large supply? So today I'm going to be talking about ribbon. Can you tell? So I'm going to show you that really all you need is one roll of ribbon, and you can do so many things with it in so many colors. So we're going to be playing with whites. We're going to be playing with colors. Here's a neutral one. And I'm going to show you all the different things that you can do, some of the things that you can do to kind of change them up a little bit. So I'm going to try to leave them here the best I can so that you can keep looking back at the ribbons as I go. So I'm just going to start from the bottom here. So here I have one that's kind of a neutral kind of a color. But say you have that, but you don't want that color. So what I've done is I have chosen a watercolor marker. And this watercolor marker it's a marker from Stampin Up. This one happens to be Summer Splash. And I am just going to take this marker and I'm going to color it. I think I'm going to use this end though. It's a little bit fatter. I'm going to use the side so that I don't ruin my tip. But this is all I'm going to do. Very gently on the side. Just rub it along there. I might need to get into this little seam here. It's only going to take a little bit to dry, but once it does, looky there, you've got a color. As long as you have a watercolor marker, for that matter, it doesn't even have to be watercolor. It could be alcohol-based as well. But as long as you have a marker that's going to be close to the color of the project that you're going to be working on, use it. It'll really come in handy. Now, if you notice, even though this isn't white, you're still going to get a really nice color out of this colored pen. So there is one option if you've got a ribbon, something like that. And then for this green one, let's just say, but I'm working on a project where I have like a really mossy colored screen or theme. And so you're not going to want this bright green color. So I'm going to take one of my alcohol-based blends and I'm going to do the same thing. Take that same tip from the end of, this is an old olive, a current Stampin' Up color. And I'm going to take this and again, just along the side, very gently. There you go. See how easy and quick that was? That's only just going to take, that's alcohol, so that's even going to take quite a bit quicker to dry. Like this one, you're not going to get anything up from it because it doesn't take that long to dry. But for sure, this is almost instantly dry because it is alcohol. So you can see between the two, I now have a mossy colored green that I didn't have before I marked it. So there you go. So there's that one. And now we have white. And I suggest if you're going to get a color, white is going to be the way to go because you're going to be able to change that to whatever color you want as long as you have an alcohol or watercolor based marker. Here we go. I'm going to take another alcohol-based one. You're going to take this white along that edge, along that edge. It's pretty wide. The tip is pretty wide, as you can see, so you can cover a lot of area with one swipe. And I'll typically get 2 out of most every ribbon that I have to cover the whole thing. So here you go. From white to fresh freesia. Another Stampin' Up color. Now let's say you've got this one. You've got this gingham colored ribbon, and you kind of like it, but you kind of want to add a little bit of color to go with your project. All right, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use my bullet tip on this one, and I'm just going to go in the center, and I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to take that white part, and I'm going to make it a gray. So it's not quite as white as it used to be, but at least it's going to blend in to whatever your project is a little bit more that's not quite as bright. If you wanted a darker color gray, you can use, this is the darker colored version of that. Let's see if I can get some dark at this end. They're both smoky slate, but one is darker than the other. That's the nice thing about all of these alcohol-based blend markers, is they always come in a pair of the same color with a lighter, a dark. They both have the bullet tip and the pointy end. So that's always a plus. And now here we have another one. Here's a really tiny, this is 1/8 of an inch, really tiny, tiny, tiny. But I'm going to show you, well, a couple different ways on this one. For example, here I have some watercolor pencils. Now this set is, this is a Stampin' Up set. They come in sets of I want to say 4 different sets of colors. I chose this one because this has more of your basic colors, your red, your blue, your green, your yellow, your purple. And so I get the most out of this one. But take a look at the colors, because you might find another combination that works best for the types of projects you have to work on. So I'm just going to take one of these. On this project that technique that I'm using can be used, we're doing it on a ribbon, but this can be used on paper as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to color a bunch of color on this ribbon, however much you want to do. And then you can either leave it like that if you want a very pastel color, or you can take a brush that has a little bit of water on it and rub it with water. And can you see how that really brought out let me get it back over here. See how it really brought out that color? It's kind of hard to see in the camera, actually. I'm sorry about that. But it brought out a lot more of the color. It was very pastel when it was just the pencil. Now you can also go over that wet part again and make it even deeper. Can you see that? I'm sure you can see that now. And then what I'm going to do is do the same thing. I'm just going to do it on this one end. But see how it nicely spreads that ink from edge to edge? It's kind of hard to tell, but it really is a really nice effect. Now here you have one that is very see-through. It's very sheer, but you can do the same thing with it. Here I have another one of those markers. 2 different colors. You've got your lighter and your darker. This one is real red. And again, I'm going to use this end of the tip. We're going to go like this. You can keep going over it if you want to get it a little bit darker. And look at that. Now this is very glimmery sheer ribbon. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to get that. You can kind of see that there. See how it glimmers a little bit? This is really pretty ribbon. And so now you have it in a red color and it still shimmers. So there's that. And then I'm going to show you how you can take one that's already, just like this green one, already blue, but it's just not the right kind of blue that you want. You know the drill. We're now going to take this, get the rest of these guys out of the way. I think I'm going to hold down both ends to make this easier. There you go. So you can see the difference here, how I have a darker blue where I've used my marker and a lighter blue on the natural color. Another thing that you can do is try it straight on an ink pad. Let's just say you don't have markers like this. You can very carefully take this and rub it in your ink pad. Maybe you want to run it along, but be very, very careful because you don't want to tear your sponge part of your ink pad. You don't want to tear it, but you also don't want to make any marks in it. So if you're going to be putting a stamp in it, that it misses, part of the stamp. So here's the purple part. Again, I got some ink on me. It's not too terribly easy to tell because you're putting it on something that's already blue, but it really does change the color to a little bit different. Here's another example on one that is clear. You can kind of see where it's changing the color. And there you have it. So there you go. Many different ways to take your ribbons, change the colors of them, use a colored ribbon, use a white ribbon, use a clear ribbon. Whatever you have, there's usually always a way to change the color somehow, whether you have a watercolor pencil, whether you have a watercolor marker, whether you have an alcohol marker. All of these things will work very well. Even if you happen to have some, let's say, acrylic paints that you're going to just mix with some water or whatever, go ahead and try that on the end of a ribbon. You might be surprised at how pretty that might turn out. So there you go, guys. Here are your examples of way to stretch your crafting supplies by just buying one really nice ribbon that you like. I would suggest not going any wider than 1/4 of an inch, because you can usually use 1/4 of an inch on every project, but you're not going to always find something that's like, most other ones are like 1 inch. This one happens to be, excuse me, 1 1/4 inches. And then you've got these guys, this one and this one, that are 1/8 of an inch. And I kind of like the 1/4 of an inch. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. If you like this video, of course, I ask that you give it a thumbs up. It helps me reach more people that like crafty tips like this. Can't talk anymore. And if you haven't already, please click that bell. That way you can be notified whenever I drop another YouTube tip. And I will leave my information down in the description so that you can learn a little bit more. And if you wanted to look into any of these projects, I will have them listed below. Okay, everyone. Happy New Year to you all. And hopefully I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Okay, bye-bye.